is Oromo Voice Radio English program. Oromo Voice Radio is broadcasting to Oromia at 16-meter band or 17,850 kilohertz or on oromovoice.org website. OVR broadcasts Oromia Insight program every Monday for 15 minutes at 7:15 p.m. Oromia local time. Welcome to Oromia Insight program.
Hello and welcome to Oromo Voices. My name is Sora Tikidi, the presenter for this radio broadcast, and today we are joined by a really special individual within the Oromo community who has made some time during a really busy period in her own particular work life. Toltu Tufa.
I'm ready to share my plans to revitalise the Oromo language. I know that to preserve a language, particularly with heated histories, often means being prepared to pay. And the cost for the Oromo language was beyond money. People paid for the language with their lives.
Hey Toltu.
Hey.
How are you?
Pretty good actually, not too bad given that we're just fresh from the first night of our launch. It's New Year's Day and we're in Oslo, Norway.
Yes, that was going to my first question. What are you doing in Oslo? Give our listeners a bit of an insight into what exactly Afan Publications is, where you are at the moment, and what the journey has looked like for you over the last couple of months.
Well, I'm actually doing a launch at the moment, so I'm launching my books as part of the Fan Publication series, which I started 2.5 years ago as a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was start creating educational tools for children, which was something I didn't actually have myself. And when I went back to volunteer teach at weekend schools, I was basically forced to teach without resources that I thought were appropriate. So I started to create my own.
Yeah.
And so basically I got in touch with people all around the world. I did a crowdfunding video and people chipped in with fundraisers. So everyone got involved from about 15 different cities. And the result of that was, all the funds being raised and even more.
So how much did you end up raising?
Well, we were aiming to raise $50,000 and we ended up raising over $120,000.
That's incredible.
Which was, it was incredible actually. And the good news of that was that I was able to create all the book products. So I created the books and said whichever cities were the ones that helped me to gather the most funds, I'd go back and visit them with the tools in hand. And so Oslo, Norway was one of those cities, and it's also where I've started my tour from. And so I'll be seeing another 6 cities in the next 6 weeks.
Wow. So you had your first Afan launch last night, is that correct?
Yeah, New Year's Eve party.
And how was that? How is, I guess, the general question is, how has this Afan campaign been received by the community, considering that it really has been a global campaign with the Oromo diaspora?
Well, actually, what really surprised me was how this translated so well from an online campaign to a face-to-face one that so many people have been tracking and following online, sometimes without me knowing. So I might post a video online and it might be shared by, 200 people, and then I go on to someone else's news page or website and I see tens of thousands of views and hundreds of shares, and so that's how I found out people knew about it. So coming to Oslo, Norway and actually seeing those people behind those clicks has been really amazing, and people's feedback has been likewise.
Incredible. So kind of moving away from I guess Afan as a business, but more so Afan's vision for the community, I was wondering, what do you think that something like Afan Publications will do for young Oromos who are, I guess, beginning to explore their own Oromuma within the diaspora context? And you mentioned before that having these kind of educational tools are things that you didn't have growing up. They're definitely things that I didn't have growing up as well. But then now that Afan exists, my brothers and sisters growing up, or cousins and things like that living in the diaspora, will actually have tangible tools to learn things like their language. And what kind of a difference do you feel like that's going to make for young people exploring that part of their identity?
I think Afan publications more than children's books or children's games and whatnot. For me, the idea behind fun publications is to have culturally empowered storytelling. So for people to be able to tell their stories in a culturally empowered way. And so, for example, by making books, like I'll do that with books that make reference to native traditions that we have, as well as like you want children to look and see themselves when they see images.
Definitely.
So, like, if you're Oromo, you want to see someone who looks Oromo, who sounds Oromo. And I did it through using children as a medium. But I think what I'd like is for people to be able to look at that and say, wow, what are other ways that I can, showcase my own identity in a way that's empowered by my understanding or my choice of, who I want to be.
Right, definitely. In terms of, at the moment it's books, but what else would you like to see that medium of storytelling to I guess, travel into the future?
Well, for me, really where I saw it was to have like cartoons, children's like the Wiggles equivalent, a Sesame Street, an Oromo Children's Channel, cartoon advertising. Those are the sort of things that I wanted to see.
Definitely. And the using the medium of language itself within the Oromo context is something quite profound. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that? And also, when you did launch a fan in Melbourne, there was something quite significant about that date and its connection to language also.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry, I was talking about the significance of language itself within the Oromo context and the Oromo history, and how I find kind of connects to that. And I was wondering if you could elaborate kind of on why you chose the medium of language.
Yeah, well, the Oromo language is the fourth most widely spoken language in Africa, which is quite an interesting position to have, given that most people who attempt to create these literatures do so for dying languages. And Oromo is actually not a dying language, it's a flourishing language. And I guess what makes it distinct or unusual is that this language has been growing and growing despite being banned for 100 years in Ethiopia. So until 1991, the language was banned from being spoken in public, with a punishment of imprisonment, and even more if you actually published books. It was considered illegal or criminal activity. So for that reason, given that the Oromo language has this sort of a troubled or mixed history, I thought it was really important. Since 1991, even though the ban's been lifted, there's been such few resources being put into revitalizing what already existed as an oral and as a written tradition. So my intention was, number one, first of all, to increase the Oromo, language and the literature, resources and tools that we have. And secondly, to stand as an example for other communities who have similar issues in the Horn of Africa. As you can imagine, there's hundreds of languages that are there. So perhaps if this could be one example, then perhaps we could do similar things for other languages as well. I think the most important thing is to make sure that it's culturally relevant and that it's done by the people. And that's another thing that's different between a fan and perhaps other campaigns, is that I've travelled around the world numerous times to show my products to numerous people and to get numerous people's feedback. So it's not like Tultu's book, it's more like the Oromo community's book. And so the trajectory of the Oromo language over the last 100 years has taken so many different turns. So whether it's from singing songs, whether it's to poetry, or whether it's books or cartoons in the future, the medium of language is really what unites the 40 million Oromos who speak the language today.
Wow, I mean, I definitely get that vibe in that it is something that has been cultivated by the community and created by the community. Give us a little bit of an insight into what exactly the products are. So you said you've got 17 different products. How do they differ, and why are they, what have you based them on? And I guess just run us through what a fan now has to offer.
Well, initially the project started by promising 4 books, 4 activity books for children. And so we've delivered on that promise, and now there's 4 books available in the Dabale series, and ranging from, colouring books to languages to basic grammar and conversational drills. And then above and beyond that, I created picture book series for children. So picture books of like animals, numbers, vegetables, opposites, and also created stickers and a range of playing cards and posters on different topics ranging from the days of the month, the weeks, the days of the week and months of the year and seasons and so on.
Awesome. What I really love about, from what I've seen on social media as to what aesthetically the books look like and things, is that they're books that I could see, young children reading in preschool or in kindergarten in terms of the way they're very aesthetically pleasing. And I reckon that's something, that really needs to be applauded because kids like things that are visual.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest selling points of a fund, and what's taken people by surprise is the amount of precision and dedication that's been given towards the artwork created in all the different images, in all the different pieces that you see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Tolta, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for taking this time out to speak with us here at Oromo Insights. We wish you all the best on the rest of your world tour, and I personally cannot wait to see you back in Melbourne for the launch that's happening here.
Thanks, Dorothy. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to travelling to the rest of the cities from Toronto, North Melbourne, and eventually back to Melbourne again in the first week of February.
No worries. Well, we'll see you then. Thank you then. Bye, Tolta.
See you later. Bye.